Okay, I'm going to get started because we have a lot to get through today. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Amanda, your host. Today's session is Google Cloud Introduction through Firebase Studio. As an aside, not all of us are on the same experience level. For the new people, think of this presentation as a look into the future that you will be able to navigate and control. At the end of this session, we'll provide a link so that you can access your own Google Cloud account. If you have any questions during the presentation, please put them into the Q&A tab, and we'll do our best to address any questions with the remaining time that we have. We are excited to introduce Yurii Serhiichuk. I hope I pronounced that closely. A certified Google Cloud expert, a cloud champion innovator, and head of DevOps at Travelshift. Yurii has a lot to show us today, so let's get started. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and let Yurii share his.
Hey guys, let me do that as well. Okay, let me know if you can see my screen. Okay, so should we get started?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. So let's start with our introduction to Google Cloud Platform through Firebase Studio. So my name is Yurii Serhiichuk, and I'm Google Developer Expert and Head of DevOps at Travelshift. And thank you all for joining. And today we are going to try and have some kind of introduction to Google Cloud Platform. So Google Cloud Platform provides a lot of services that potentially can suit for any application and tasks, but with same great variety, it may be a little bit hard sometimes to decide which one to use and what to have. So there is no silver bullets there, and also there is no magic service that solves all your problems, but Google has to offer a little bit of them. So Google has more than 150 active services on Google Cloud Platform and over 15 different categories, and it's growing. But where do we start? Well, have we tried checking out any modern cloud tools? Well, basically, they are pretty much often very overwhelming. So here is just a screenshot from the Google Cloud Platform All Products tab. And we can just navigate here. This is the same thing. We can go to All Products, and we can just scroll for a little while, you know? So over 150 services that are available in GCP itself, and then over 4,500 deployable products through Marketplace. That's a lot. So how is it even possible to start here? And this is not really specific to Google Cloud. Other cloud providers have it even worse, in my opinion. So Google is okay. So what should we do then? How can we try and do an intro into such a vast ecosystem, right? Well, probably by trying to do something ourselves. But again, where do we start? So maybe we can start with a system design diagram. How would you feel if someone will drop something like this on you on your very first day in trying something? Well, this is actually a very possible production grade system. I would even say enterprise grade system level design architecture. So we have a lot of components here, and that's probably where you want to end up when you have a very mature product. It is robust, it is scalable, but for day one, this is not really a roadmap, it's a barrier. It causes analysis paralysis, and how you would even know what to pick from here. So let's maybe take a step back a little bit. Maybe there is a better or easier way, right? So yeah, even Google itself, they provide a lot of tools, and we are in era of AI right now, so it feels like a good way to learn something new by at least leveraging the AI tools. So here we can see the Firebase Studio. It's Google's answer to vibe coding or AI assisted engineering, but on a bit different level, and we'll see why. So let me go to the AI Studio itself, and you can go there by going to studio.firebase.google.com. So when you enter the AI Studio, it it gives you this prototyping solution. So what you can actually do, you can just type it out. You can type, okay, let's create an application that will generate greetings for presentation virtual meetings. And we can ask AI to help us as well, because why not? So what it's going to do is going right now to expand our silly prompt into something more specific and professional. And then we can go with prototype with AI. So this is actually going to take a little bit of time. And I don't think we have that much time to go through the whole process, but let's just give it a couple of minutes, right? So what it gives us here right away is the blueprint. It says what we are going to do, how we are going to do it, what we're going to use, and how. So let's just go ahead and ask to prototype this application. This is a very small thing, right? But it will use Google recommended approach, Google recommended libraries and tools, and probably a little bit of AI here and there. So it looks very cool. While it's doing it, let me switch to a demo that I prepared in advance. So I'm like a little bit tired of tracking the presentations and talk and stuff. So I decided, like, why don't I just create my own tracking for this kind of stuff? And I did with Firebase Studio. So here is a very silly thing where I can actually create some new activities that I'm working on or will be working on next. Google Cloud Next 2026 would be great. And it's going to happen somewhere in April. So I don't really know what to talk about there yet, but whatever. So this same prototype was created with Firebase Studio and with the tooling that they provide. And let's see how our demo is going. Well, it's reasoning about the main app code. But yeah, this one is working. So what actually happens here, and how do we go from like an idea to an actual working application? And if we go back to our presentation, here is the application that is a presentation tracker that has secure authentication. It has activities management. It has profile. It actually has a lot of stuff that people will probably spend at least a week or maybe even more to create an MVP for. And now it takes hours. I will not say you can like create it with a single prompt. I don't believe any kind of AI can do that right now, but this is still very powerful. Before we continue, let's get and see if, okay, so it's taken a little bit more time than I wanted. So let's go with my demo, okay? Oh, it's ready. Nice. So you can see this is an actual application that was created in 3 minutes. So it created the whole setup a lot of files, some layouts, some front end, some back end. Now it says, hey, I want a Gemini API key because we asked it to use AI to create the greetings, right? So let's give it the API key and see if it's going to work. And then we will get back to our presentation. We have a little bit of time, I guess. So what do we have here? The context, brain user interview, client kickoff, sync. Well, it's good enough. The tone, train workshop. Okay, sounds good. Friendly. Just go ahead. Let's see. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our training workshop. Okay, that's not great, but it's not that bad as well. Make sure to mention some Pokemons. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our training workshop. I hope you're all ready to evolve your skills and catch some new knowledge, just like a seasoned Pokemon trainer. Well, I think it's pretty cool. Like, we created an actual application from scratch in 5 minutes or less. It's simple, yeah, but I mean, so if we go back to the review of Firebase Studio, so this is where you start. This is the prototyper, and it's very easy to use and navigate. Basically, on the right, you have your chat where you talk to the AI, you can add and remove features, and you don't even have to see or check the source codes yet. So let's just ask it to create something new. Let's add more meeting types. For example, let's add present virtual events like we have right now. So we have not touched any code. It just works. There is a catch though. So the current state that we have, it's called works on my machine. So I cannot really deploy it somewhere yet. It only works in this environment, in this workspace. It's not easily shareable at this particular moment, but we will get there as well. So here we asked for virtual event. Let's see if it was able to do that. So virtual event, nice, awesome, enthusiastic. Just like that. Let's see. Warm welcome to everyone joining us today to this exciting virtual event. That's great to see so many people joining. That's indeed great. So what do we have here as well? So that's the prototyper, as I mentioned, but we also can switch to full-blown code mode if you want. It's not required, but this is basically Visual Studio-like editor where you can navigate through your files, you can check out the source codes, you can do all this stuff. You can modify stuff manually if you want. But what we are more interested in, I guess, is how can we share this? How can we make this accessible? So there is this blue button here, publish. And of course, we need some kind of billing. Yes. But basically, in 3 clicks, it's going to do something for us. It's going to do something interesting. It's going to pack our application, deploy it into Google Cloud Platform, create an accessible URL for us that we can share. And basically, in the end, after it's done, we should be able to visit this URL and access our application just like that. So let's get back to our presentation. And if we get back again to the demo I created, basically, what I had was a presentation tracker application with authentication, with some backend, with some storage, and with some AI and some management tooling. So here is a system design diagram that we get if we get the previous system design, but throw away everything that probably we may not need. So let's see what kind of components Firebase Studio actually creates for us in Google Cloud, just behind the scenes. So let's start with the core here. The core is the Cloud Run. So Cloud Run service is actually the Google's frontier server environment. This is a serverless containerized platform. It scales to 0, but also scales to millions of requests per second, which means that basically you're only paying for what you're using. And here is how this looks in the actual cloud environment. So let's go to our presentation tracking console. Here it is. And just type run here and go to Cloud Run. So the presentation tracking application that we saw here, it actually is working with this service. And we can see the metrics, we can see the logs, we can see how many different revisions were there and what was happening and yada yada. That's a lot of stuff. So if we just want to check what other kind of server environments we have, because we are trying to do the introduction to Google Cloud here. So we have the Cloud Run, right? So it's containerized, it's serverless, it scales down to 0 and up to millions of RPS. Nowadays, Cloud Run also provides, on top of simpler services, it also has Cloud Run functions, which is a bootstrapped containerized environment where you just drop your code and it will create a container for you and deploy it for you. And basically, you're working with code, but somehow it makes it containerized and available. And there are also Cloud Run workers that are available for asynchronous workloads, maybe something that you want to run for a long time, or where you don't really have incoming requests. So then we have Google Kubernetes Engine, which is a managed Kubernetes solution from Google. It has standard and autopilot clusters, and now they're merging together. So you can create a standard cluster with autopilot pods or deployments in it. So this is a great solution if you have or need or want to deploy a Kubernetes-based setup. Then Google Kubernetes Engine is your choice. Then we have Compute Engine. So this is basically a general purpose virtual machines management solution. You can create virtual machines, you can group them into groups, you can create other solutions on top of that. And lastly, we have App Engine. So why lastly? Because, well, basically App Engine was created over 15 years ago. It was a frontier platform as a service solution. It still is, like, it's still supported and still in development, but probably nowadays you're better off with Cloud Run. It's easier to manage, it's more standardized, it's easier to run with. So going back to our system design, we have our Cloud Run, which basically hosts our code, and now we need to store data somewhere. So for our solution, we chose Firestore. And Firestore is a managed NoSQL database from Google Firebase suite of products. It has powerful security rules engine built in. It is pay-per usage, similar to Cloud Run pay-per usage, and it integrates greatly with both backend and front-end systems. So you can actually access data directly from the front end. So here is how Firestore looks in Google Cloud Platform. And here's how it looks in Firebase, because this solution is shared between Firebase tools and Google Cloud Platform. And we can go again for my deployed application. Everything here was created from Firebase Studio. And here is our database. And here is our users collection and some data in there. And here are the activities that we actually saw. So if we go back to our presentation tracker, here is the Google Cloud Next 2026 that we just created. And let's just find it real quick. Okay, here it is. With all the information. We can actually change it just from here. And see, oh, great. So as I said, integrates greatly with backend and frontend. So you can modify the data. We have not restarted or refreshed the application. It's just there. So if we were to review what kind of databases Google Cloud provides, then we'll see NoSQL databases, SQL databases, and analytical solutions. So if we go from NoSQL Firestore that we saw already, it's great for general purpose usage. It is pay-per usage, so you're not paying in advance. The more you use, the more you pay. It has great front-end integration. Then there is Firebase Real-Time DB. It's a JSON-based database with real-time capabilities. In the majority of cases, you're probably better off with Firestore. Then there is Bigtable. So it's high throughput specialized database. You may consider it when you need very, very low latency and you operate on terabytes of data. Then we have a set of tools from Memory Store. These are tools like Redis, Memcache, Walkey, and then going to SQL databases, we have general purpose managed SQL solution from Cloud SQL. So if you have a MySQL database or a Postgres database or SQL Server, you're probably good to go with Cloud SQL. Then we have AlloyDB, which is a specialized Postgres compatible database for high performance applications. So if you're willing to pay a little bit extra and you use Postgres syntax, then AlloyDB is probably a good choice. And lastly, for SQL solutions, we have Spanner. So Spanner is Google's top star. It's Google's super database with global consistency, super high performance, super scalable, global availability. The only problem is cost. So you really need global kind of scale if you want to use Spanner, or otherwise it may be just a little bit too expensive. And lastly, we have BigQuery, which is Google's analytical miracle. So it can digest terabytes of data in seconds. You can run SQL queries on vast data sets and prepare analytics and analyze data. It's really cool. Going back to our system design. So we have Firebase authentication, and let's see it in action. I will actually log out for a little bit and just sign in with my personal account, because why not? And here it is. So what happens behind the scenes here is Firebase provides integration with a lot of SSO providers. Like you can use Google, you can use Meta, you can use Microsoft Live, and actually a lot of them. We can just go and check. So here is our Firebase authentication for the presentation tracker. So there is a little bit of sign-in methods here, and we can just add more. And all of that is just a single click or a couple of clicks, right? You don't need to write a lot of stuff. You just enable it, and then you create the UI, and you're good to go. So it also combines with more enterprisey Google Cloud Identity Platform from GCP, but Firebase authentication probably is good enough for you until you scale up really high. So it's free for up to 50,000 monthly active users. That's an okay scale for a good startup, I guess. So here is how it looks like in Firebase console. And if we go to the management and operations, we have Firebase Studio that we already saw. And it also integrates with a lot of different services. So let's go to our demo here and see how it goes. Actually, it's done. So we can just go here and let me just try and share these links just here for you guys to try. Just go ahead. It has my Gemini key. Do whatever. So it works, I guess. Let's see. Hello, team. Welcome to our weekly sync. Let's make this meeting as impactful as president decision. Well, it's okay. let's go and see what do we see in Firebase Studio for this completely newly generated application. So here is our app. Oh, we need to go through console.firebase.google.com. And verbal start. Here it is. So here is our Firebase application, I guess. And we were using app hosting. Here it is. It's deployed. Here are the rollouts. We only had one. Here are the logs of this application. And someone, probably me, here is the usage. Here are some settings, and you can easily, for example, go and add custom domain. So I have my own domain. Let's greeter serhiichuk.dev. This will also take a little bit of time, so let's let it cook, and we'll get back there. So when we click that publish button, what actually was happening behind the scenes is Firebase connected to Google Cloud, and then Google Cloud created a Cloud Build, and then Cloud Build packaged our source code application. Because as you can check, there is no Docker file. There is nothing to containerize. So that was Cloud Build that took our source code, it containerized it, it published the container to Google Artifact Registry, and then it created a new revision in Cloud Run, and we can go and check how this was happening for the presentation tracker, Cloud Build. So here is a history of builds that I was doing over time, and every build has a number of steps. And again, we did not create any of that. Google took care of that. And then it should have created artifact registry containers, Firebase app hosting images. Here is our presentation tracker. And here is our container, which is basically deployed. And we can go to Cloud Run again and see that basically for every successful deployment in Cloud Build, we will see a revision here. So these are all the different versions of the applications that I deployed, which is pretty cool because we did all of that with a single publish button. Okay, so going back to our services, if we take a look at auxiliary services that Google Cloud provides, of course, we have the Cloud Build, which is basically, it's a very generic CI/CD pipelines in Google Cloud Platform. You write a pipeline in YAML, and then you can do whatever you want. You can call other services, you can call Docker, you can call Maven, NPM, whatever you need. Then there is Cloud Deploy. So this is a continuous integration and system for containerized services specifically for Cloud Run and Google Kubernetes Engine. Then we have Firebase App Hosting, which is an intermediate service. It is built on top of Cloud Build, as we have seen, and it powers Firebase Studio Publish integration. Then we have the Artifact Registry, and it's a hosting platform for Docker containers, but you also can host your private NPM modules or PyPy Python modules or Java Maven modules and just generic artifacts as well. It's very powerful. And then for the integration type of services, I would probably name like those that you probably will use more frequently. So the Cloud Scheduler is basically a managed cron job service. You can create a schedule with a cron job, and they'll tell it, hey, I want you to hit this endpoint, or I want to create you to create a message or do something. Then we have the workflows, which is a YAML-based general purpose pipeline with a vast library of connectors to Google services. And this is somewhat similar to N8N, if you maybe know, where you create workflows, but here you're defining everything in code. Then we have Event Arc. So this is an events aggregation system in Google Cloud. When something happens in Google Cloud, in the majority of cases, we will have an event. And you have ability to subscribe on that event and do something. For example, there may be an event, cloud build has completed. And then maybe after a cloud build has completed a build, you want to trigger something else asynchronously. So that's where event arc may be useful. And lastly, we have PubSub, which is a managed high performance solution for queues, where you can create topics or queues and have multiple subscribers, and then you can do a full-blown asynchronous solution in your system. So in PubSub, you can pull data, or you can ask PubSub to push the data, the events that you created, to a design destination, to a service, for example. And lastly, we have our AI tools. So Gemini, of course, it's our AI powerhouse. And Gemini is basically powering all the tooling, the Firebase Studio, all the assistants Google provides, all the advanced AI features. And we can also use Gemini as an API. So if we go back to our presentation tracker and go to source somewhere here, well, there is a feature like populate profile from the URL. So what I can do, I can go to my profile, and here I can provide, for example, x.com, x. So this is my X or Twitter account, and then I can ask it to magic fill the profile. So what happens behind the scenes is I'm using Gemini API. Well, Firebase Studio with Gemini AI created this functionality that is using Gemini API to actually access the content that is available by the URL and then parse that content and populate the profile. So I would say it looks pretty cool. And probably it's not working. So let's actually see why it's not working, because we can. So let's see. Okay, here is our action magic fill. Here is our link. Oh, it did something. Okay. Twitter is probably behind the paywall, so it was a bad choice from my side. So let's just use LinkedIn instead. It should have a little bit more info, I guess. Let's try one more time. But it actually worked, which is great. And we can see the logs, we can see everything that was happening. So yeah, success, magic fill, populated profile from URLs. Basically, just populated one single link in my profile, which is not that bad. But we did that with AI, which is cool. So yeah, let's see what's happening when we are trying to populate it from LinkedIn. Okay, it takes a little bit of time as well. And it says it populated, but we see no results. Huh, it's probably broken. That's a good one. So as I said, you cannot create a single prompt and create a full solution from it. And you can technically go to the code and see what's wrong, but I will not do all of that right now. Instead, I will use it. It is possible that I'm using an outdated version. The outdated version is deployed. So let's just try one more time here, and we will get back to our presentation. It's also possible that this link is broken. No, it's me. Okay. So let's just get back and revisit what's happening there in a little while. So If you're new to Gemini, the best solution would be to go to Google AI Studio, and that's the home for Gemini usage for all the developers. But if we want to summarize the AI products GCP provide, I would probably highlight these. So the Vertex AI, this is the Google's enterprise AI solution. Basically, all AI in Google eventually boils down to Vertex AI. It has its own enterprise versions of everything. Then we have the Google AI Studio. This is a go-to place for developers to try and test AI models. And now it also includes AI built-in solutions. And then we have translation, which is a set of AI-based tools for Google for translations. Google Translate, for example, is powered by Translation AI. Then we have Document AI for AI tools that work with documents, for example, parsing PDFs or AI-based OCR. Then we have speech, so you can generate speech with AI solutions. There are specific models for speech generation. Then we have computer vision with Google Cloud Vision API. And then lastly, we have Notebook LM, which is an AI research tool and thinking partner. So it's supercharged research solution. You can create mind maps, you can ask questions, you can talk to documents, you can search websites, whatever you configure as a source. So before we continue, let's just see how do we do here. Okay, it's still not working. And I don't think we have enough time to try and debug why it is not working exactly. So we've checked and observed actually a lot of different things so far. And I guess the question is still, where should I start? Well, first of all, Gemini itself, or maybe any other AI assistant solution that you prefer. I'm actually personally using Gemini. So this is a great way to amplify your knowledge or maybe to ask some questions about very specific topics. You can ask about Google Cloud as well. It's going to work and it's working great. So then Firebase Studio, as we saw, it's an awesome prototyping tool, but also gives you a bootstrapped way towards a more production ready setup because you can create or prototype your solution. And then, as we saw with a single button, basically, you can publish it, make it accessible to everyone. And then we have Cloud Assist. So Cloud Assist is your Gemini assistant, but in Google Cloud Platform itself. It's already integrated in a lot of GCP products. For example, you can use Cloud Assist in Cloud SQL Studio, where you can type in natural language, hey, please find me this or that in my data, and Cloud Assist will generate a SQL query for you to find your data, which is very cool. So if I were to suggest or recommend what to actually get or buy from the subscriptions, I would probably point to these two. So Google One subscription. This is basically general purpose AI, advanced notebook LM, Gemini in Workspace, for example, in Google Docs or in Gmail. And then the second one is Google Developer Subscription. This is a more specialized version. So it gives you access to Gemini Cloud Assist in integrated development environments such as JetBrains EDS like WebStorm or PyCharm or IntelliJ IDEA or VS Code. And then it gives you higher limits if you want to use, for example, Gemini CLI, the agent-based development system, or you want to access Google skills, right? And lastly, how to practice all of that, because that's a lot. And first of all, I would recommend Google Skills. This is a go-to place for sure. It's still the best way to practice some real-world GCP tasks. So, for example, if you need to configure a net in your network, or maybe you need to create a managed instance group with PubSub-based scaling and processing, then you probably will find a lab for you to try it out in Google Skills. They will create an actual GCP project for you automatically as part of their labs. and they will give you access to real project with maybe something pre-configured, but then you can go and try and do that. And of course, you should always just go and try yourself. Google has a pretty generous free tier and a lot of products that have free tier with monthly quotas. So that is actually all from my side. Here is a cute photo of my dog, Persephone. And I guess we have time for Q&A.
Mhm.
And we can also go back to the demos if you want. So thank you guys so much for this presentation, for being with me. And Amanda, please go ahead.
Okay. I have can I want to share my slides now. Can I
Sure.
drop your link into the chat so we can share that? And then I'm going to share my question and answer slide. And we have about 10 minutes. I'm going to put timer on the clock, or time on the clock. But thank you for showing us that very in-depth demo about Firebase Studio. I know that I've been playing around with little small projects, and it's been really fun to, I did that.
Yeah.
That's really neat. So one of the questions that we have is, do you need to have an extra Gemini license to create an app in Firebase?
No. So Firebase Studio gives you, as far as I remember, 3 workspaces. So every workspace is basically a single application like we created right now. That was a usage of a workspace. But there is a great solution to expand your available workspaces. First of all, you can just go ahead right now and subscribe to free Google developer subscription. It's completely free. You just subscribe, fill out your profile, and then this will increase your quota for Firebase Studio up to 10 workspaces. And then you can buy Google Pro Developer Pro subscription, and then they will increase the quota up to 30 workspaces as far as I remember. But you can start for free.
And the website was free, Google developer.
Website is Google. Let me. I will just Google it real quick. So here it is. I'm just sharing it in the chat as well.
The next question we have is, what situation should we use Google Studio and Gravity?
So I guess it was Anti-Gravity, which is the new integrated development environment from Google. And let me try to separate them a little bit. So Google, okay, yes, Google Studio or Google AI Studio, I guess, right? Or Firebase Studio. These are web-based solutions for prototyping and rapid integration with Google Cloud. Google Anti-Gravity is agent-based, AI agent-based integrated development environment. So it is like a VS Code or JetBrains EDS, but with Google agent-based AI, probably Gemini CLI in it built in. These are somewhat similar because in Firebase Studio you can develop with the prototyper, which is also agent-based development solution. Anti-Gravity is just something you can download to your own laptop and work with locally while talking to the AI. Firebase Studio, it has integrated web preview. It has all these different types of integrations with Firebase, so you can just go ahead and deploy your solution as we saw. So yeah, it's somewhat similar, but a little bit different as well. So you can start, for example, with Firebase Studio or Google AI Studio, and then you can download the results of your work to your laptop and continue working on the same project using Google Anti-Gravity, if that makes sense. I hope I answered the question.
Do we have any other questions? There was a lot to go through, but it was fun to see that you don't need to know code and that Google pre-populates a lot of that stuff for you, and that, you know, if you have a resource like a Google developer group, that you can go to them and say, hey, I got this far, where do I go now? And it's really that's really exciting. So that was really neat. And
Yeah, absolutely. I love Firebase Studio a lot. Like just starting up a new project or idea, and in some time you can have it working. It's not just like very trivial stuff. You can actually get to a pretty powerful products and projects just by typing your ideas and
yeah.
asking it to move forward.
Okay. Well, if we don't have any more questions, I guess I'll say that if you think of a question after the session, feel free to email us, and we can see if we can get that question answered for you. Don't forget to follow us on the socials. It's been dropped in the chat. And our next session will be an intro to Google Workspace, which is a great tool for business owners and entrepreneurs alike. It's actually a great tool for a lot of things. So that event will pop up on the event page in the coming days. So we want to thank Yurii again for that wonderful presentation, and for joining us so late where you are. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
And we will, I guess, end here if there are no other questions. So thank you again, and watch our event page for the next scheduled session. And thank you for everyone for attending.
Thank you guys for having me. Thanks. Bye bye. Have a nice day.
I'm gonna all right.